Hey there everybody, how is everybody doing? We are here, we are live. It is Life Downloaded Live. It's Tuesday, it's apparently the 14th of July, and as always, I am joined by the ever glamorous, ever effervescent, the lovely Samantha Renk. How are you doing, Sam?
Oh, I'm a tiny bit hungover. I'm not even going to lie to you there, Dan. But I am back in London town. So I made the pilgrimage, as I am now calling it, from Shielding in Lancashire back down to London. So I'm back home. It's a bit of a blur. Came home to quite a few things go wrong in my house. So it's a little bit like, welcome to adulthood. Welcome back to London. We love you. So yeah, I'm all right though. I am excited about today because we have got tons and tons and tons of things to talk about. There's been quite a lot of developments in the news regarding COVID, and so we want to chat. And we've also got one of my bestest friends ever, our special guest.
Indeed, he's quietly flashed up on screen because
he has.
You know, he's been appearing like a secret ninja, and you can see his Twitter handle floating across the bottom of the screen. And I'm quite excited because I'm a big comic book geek, and I know he's written a comic book, which is kind of awesome. So, why don't you give one of your bestest friends of all time that isn't me a stunning introduction, Sam?
Drum roll, please. I don't have to have any drums. Yes, my gorgeous friend, very talented man indeed, and an absolute, godsend when it comes to how to be an amazing ally to the disability community. It is Mr. Dan White.
Oh. There he is.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, Dan. How are you, my love?
I'm very well, thank you very much. Still in lockdown, still shielding, and wearing the same shirt I've had on for 4 days. So I've turned into the obligatory, crusty lockdown chap. Yeah, I'm doing well, thank you.
Thank God it's not Smello Telly. There you go.
I know.
Scratch and sniff.
I know. Look at me.
Oh.
It is a very stylish shirt, though. I'll give you that. It takes a certain breed of man to be able to wear a shirt that stylish.
It does take a certain breed of chap to wear a flowery shirt. Indeed, it does. And I'm hoping to turn into that sort of chap. Like one day, I'm hoping to turn into a responsible adult. So there's two things I'm praying for in my future life. Oh, yeah. I want to be as mature as you two.
Oh no, adulting's rubbish. Thank you so much for joining us. I know we've been meaning to get you on Life Downloaded for quite some time. I've been pretty crap at sorting that out, so I'm very, very grateful. And I think it's quite important that we're chatting now because of COVID and because of shielding, and for people who don't know about your circumstance. So you have a beautiful daughter, Emily, that is, I suppose, I don't like the word vulnerable. I prefer the term more susceptible to COVID. So would you like to just explain, because there might be a few people that just don't have a clue about, well, first of all, who you are, and if they don't, shame on them. But, about your kind of circumstance, your shielding situation as it stands.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Emily is 14. She's a powerful wheelchair user. She has scoliosis, spina bifida, hydrocephalus, Chiari malformation, PSD, autism. I have accused her of being incredibly greedy in a disability work. But she also has asthma, and she has a BiPAP oxygen machine at night, which she sleeps with. So yeah, she has been classed as vulnerable. Don't know the word either, because that's just endemic stereotype for all of us. But she is at risk of COVID. So yeah, we have been in lockdown now since I think mid-March. And Amy, my wife, is also asthmatic, and she received a letter as well. So yeah, it's been the three of us locked in essentially for that long. And being a carer has really exposed the frailties and the destruction of the social care system, because all the external support you rely on, like social services, physio, OT and stuff, and that has been literally cut off. So we've just been all left to our own devices by COVID. And it's just been a national tragedy that so many people have died because the country was just so slow to act.
Yeah. And do you know what? I mean, I know that you are a full-time carer. You and your wife, Amy, are a full-time carer of Emily. And I live on my own, but I do have a PA. And I'm, it's nowhere near how abandoned you guys must have felt. But even from my point of view, and one of the reasons why I decided to move back up to Lancashire to be with my mum was purely the fact that there was absolutely no guidance, no information, no kind of checking in. Hey there, we realise that this is a proper shitstorm, and you're probably going to need some help. I mean, I remember as the weekends that I was going to be going home, I got a letter through the door from my local authority because I received direct payment. That's the funding that I get to pay for my PA, my assistant. And they literally sent out like a 4-page document with little stick figures of people wearing masks and things. And I think that was probably about a month after kind of lockdown. And I was just like, so this is all you're going to be giving me. Where do I even get the PPE? Is it my responsibility to buy the PPE? Is it the local authorities? And also, on the flip side, my PA, she's a single mother and she's got 3 children. So all of a sudden she had all these, kind of parent duties, to consider, which is, understandable. But she also worked for other vulnerable people who have Alzheimer's, and they had external carers coming in. So it was just this whole melting pot of, so many people thinking, well, what do we do? I don't want her to lose her job. I want to keep her because she's amazing. Is the council going to continue to pay for her services, even if I'm not using it? I mean, to be fair, they did actually say, if you want to reduce your care, then we will still continue, to pay for you, which was the only kind of thumbs up moment I had from my local authority. But yeah, I don't use the word shitstorm lightly, but it really was a shitstorm, and it was terrifying because I genuinely thought if they don't pay for her, she will have to get a different job, and she is my lifeline. She is my independence. And believe me, I've had quite a few PAs in the past, and no disrespect to them, but I've had people try and steal from me. I've had people not turn up. So Louise, don't just call her my PA. Louise is like a godsend, and I'm very fortunate that I had somewhere to go, because I would have had to maybe limit her to one day a week. I mean, she wore a mask. We both wore masks. My mum's a nurse, so my mum got us some masks anyway. But we wore masks before it was even, a whisper in the air that masks were a thing. And people actually abused her in the street, and said, "Oh, like you're taking this a bit seriously. You're overreacting." And I think that was before anything. I think, and that narrative has continued throughout. Shielding. I mean, Dan, you're shielding as well.
Yeah.
For different reasons. You don't have a PA.
No, I don't have a PA. I shielded for quite a bit. I'm not shielding as much now because I'm not on the what I call the super shielding list. I'm kind of in the be extra careful, don't eat yellow snow kind of list.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm a bit more relaxed, and fortunately now can bubble with my other half and see a few more people. But yeah, I'll wear a mask. If not for me, I wear a mask for other people because, I've got enough friends like yourself and like Emily and all that wearing a mask protects them, then I'm going to do it. And if it cuts the spread down generally, and the fact is, I've got some pretty cool masks. Look.
Yeah.
I've got
I like that.
Sexy
I love
Captain
it.
America.
Can you grab mine?
There you go.
Oh, that's sweet. I really like that.
Yeah.
But I think generally that the country was woefully underprepared for this, and the tragedy is that in 2016 the government actually ran a pandemic simulation called Operation Sickness.
They did.
The findings of that were that the country wasn't prepared for it, and of course there was no action taken.
No.
So years of austerity, years of social care ravaging, years of NHS underfunding, I just brought all this to the core. But we have, as carers and this community, literally been abandoned. It's been a case of, here's a food box, here's your letter, don't rock the boat, go away. If you get stuck, ask a neighbour or someone else to do palliative and intimate care. Well, I'm not going to ask a neighbour to do intimate care, to do catheters and suppositories like that. That's never going to happen. And a child with autism is never going to allow that to happen. So we have been trying as a care community to just make our voices loud and be shouting and shouting and shouting to the system how terrible they've got this wrong. But no one, unfortunately, seems to be listening. I'll put this question to Helen Whatley on BBC Breakfast, the care minister. And she just did the usual spin doctor, completely talked over and around it and avoided the answer. I've been chasing up Justin Tomlinson. Where's the Minister for Disabled People been throughout this whole pandemic? Not one daily briefing. When you consider the community is 16 million, something like disabled community. That's a huge portion of this country. And when they announced that shielding was over, where was he on that day as our representative to answer those questions and calm everyone's fears? It wasn't there. So we can see a slither of ableism running through this administration, and also a very cold heart running through it. And that's why we're so cross, because we've just been literally left swamped with information. And like I said, for an autistic child like Emily, when you're told, do this, or no, don't do that, we're going to be doing this, actually, no, we're not. She's just overloaded, and now it's got to the point where she's even too scared to go out. So it's the whole thing has been handled colossally, appallingly.
Yeah. I you know what? I mean, I all I can honestly say is, as a campaigner, you always think that you are making a difference. You'd like to think that even if you're not making big changes, you're making little changes, and you're helping the community that you feel so passionate about and proud to be part of. And, and even, making changes in how non-disabled people, kind of, I wouldn't say interact, but, treat us and respect us. And I honestly just feel like since this pandemic, and from exactly what you've been saying, from people not wearing masks, from people, just thinking it's over and having parties or having raves or just doing what the damn they well please, I have never felt so insignificant, so worthless, so, I just think if the apocalypse came, we'd all be screwed, because we would be trampled over. Even right from the beginning when we were looking at, all the bare shelves in the stores, the shops, it's really brought out the worst in humanity. And I don't say that because, to dismiss those that have really banded together, because there are definitely wonderful people out there, and I do appreciate the media has a tendency to only focus on the negative. So what we kind of see all the time, isn't necessarily,
everyone's experience.
Everyone's experience, which is fair enough. But it's absolutely terrified me. So before I came home, I went to a shop for the first time, to Aldi. So I thought, I'm going to get some food so that I don't need anyone coming into my home to deliver food or me not be able to pick it up. And my mum said, we'll go to this one Aldi where there's hardly any people and they've got big aisles. So me and mum were wearing masks. I went in there. Not one person was wearing masks. Not one person was, social distancing. I even had people lean over me. Even though I had a mask on, I had people lean over me. And my mum said, what do you want to get in here? And my mind, because of the fear and the pure anger, my mind just went blank, and I went, I don't even know what I want in here. Just let me leave.
Yeah.
Let me leave. And I don't know. I feel that anger, and I don't normally get angry because I'm normally very empathic, and I normally try to see it from everyone's point of view. But when I hear stories like your own, Dan, and maybe I'm biased because I'm a good friend of yours, and you mean the world to me, but it saddens me and it worries me because we both talk about mental health openly, and it worries me that there's many parents out there like I'm not saying you're lucky because there's two of you. There's a lot of parents out there that are maybe single parents, and if I can't even cope with my cat crying right now because I'm stuck indoors, I don't know what support have you been offered, if any, or do you know of any support with regards to respite or kind of someone to talk to? Is there anything out there that you found?
absolutely nothing. No, there's absolutely nothing. It's always been the case in the disabled and the care community, is that if you want something, you have to go and find it, because it's never offered to you. That there's no information readily available. You always have to go and be the detective, as well as being the campaigner, as well as being the carer, as well as being the lawyer and the physio and the mental health expert in a house. But no, there's literally been nothing, and that's been the real issue. We sadly still live in a society that values production and profit over people. Yeah. So, of course, the government are going to be pushing to reopen everything and say, if it's fine, if it's jolly and dandy. And you're right, people have lost that touch of empathy. People have just started to run around reading the subliminal messages because everything's open, everything's fine. But it's not. And the fact that people are leaning over you, that's invading your personal space. You literally wouldn't lean over someone else, because that's just that is your personal space. It's also a rather horrible thing to do. But you're right about social distancing. The only few times I've been out to get medication, because medication wasn't delivered, people cannot seem to follow arrows on the floor. People cannot seem to work out social distancing. People cannot put their hands over their mouths when they cough. And I really, really fear for society, because there's one thing I've learned about this community, the disabled community and the carers community, is that we have so much empathy. We are prepared to do anything to help anyone. And we have so open minds because of the experiences that we've all had. But no one else has. Everyone just lives sheltered. We need to do this, profit, need to go out the pub, way, all this malarkey. And until it happens to them, until they, A, have a disability, which everyone will have at some point in their lives, or B, become a carer, and there are over 600,000 people becoming carers every week, or even get COVID, then nothing's going to change. And you wouldn't wish that on anybody, but there are some times that I have literally wished that on people, because I've just been so cross with the British population. Yeah. Absolutely fuming and seething, especially seeing Emily, who's too terrified to go out, and now she's got this scoliosis operation coming up, where she's aware that the doctors and the nurses will be masked, and she'll be in intensive care on her own afterwards. And that's heartbreaking, all because we weren't prepared, and all because people, unfortunately, are idiots.
Yeah. No, I completely agree with you. I mean, a friend said to me the other day, we were talking about masks, and a friend said to me the other day, I need to be told what to do. And I just thought, so, you're happy to wear a seatbelt, because even though it is law, but that would protect you, it would protect other people. And we are saying that wearing a mask, which isn't going to, infringe your being, apart from if you've got any, underlying medical conditions, of course, or if you, rely on, lip reading, then, that's a different element. But for the population that don't fall into that, it's not going to do you any harm. But what we're saying is, it means that I can go back to work. And it's this whole thing of, because we were labelled as vulnerable, you think of frail, weak, elderly people or disabled people that aren't capable of doing anything, don't go to work, don't socialise. And I think that, as soon as we got labelled vulnerable, that is where we went wrong.
And we also went to the bottom of the list. Yeah, that's what I mean. We also went to the bottom of the list. It's just that tagline, vulnerable. It's and the fact that, because some disabled people don't work. Well, not everyone has to work. Not everyone should have to work. Life is not based around work. My ethics and your ethics, and probably Dan's ethics, are life is around empathy and sympathy and being there for people and making a difference in someone's life. We've got to get out of this mantra that it's all, you've got to earn £1 million, you've got to make money, you've got to produce, because that's just the message I'm getting from the system at the minute. And it's interesting what you said about the elderly as well. I mean, fair enough, the elderly have been mentioned a lot in the press when they talk about care, but not once in all the care messages are they talking about parent carers or things like that. And you think to yourself, are we that invisible to society? Are we really just worth our £67 a week carers allowance? No. Is that what is all our children are worth because we're not out there producing and being productive? But it's about that.
The government has always relied on carers. I know when my father passed away and my mum became, a widow and was my full-time carer, and she didn't receive any respite. Like even when she applied for income support, it was going to be £3 something a week. You know, it was like because she got my father's pension, which was about £47 a week. It was ridiculous, and I just thought, because I would have if I would have been put into care, I would have needed 24-hour care as a child, and I just thought the government relies on parents, takes the piss out of parents, abuses the fact that they will do anything to protect their child, and they will bend over backwards, and they will get into debt, and they will let their own mental health suffer because they wouldn't just abandon their child. And I think the government knows that, and they abuse that system. Yet they now treat you as they have in COVID with so little disregard.
No, they do. It's terrible when you think that carers across the country, parent carers, and even young carers, because young carers never gets mentioned. And I'm always trying to raise the voice of young carers. We say we save the government enough money to fund a second NHS every year. If we were all suddenly, we wouldn't do it. But if we all suddenly decide, no, we're not caring anymore, we're going to take all our children and elderly people to the door of the hospital and leave them there. Health system, bang, in a minute, gone, implode, destruct. But they know, you're right, they know we can't do that.
Yeah.
So they've got us on the eternal carrot dangling on a piece of string in front of us. And that's no way to run society. And like you said, if you had to sadly go into care, that would have, your 24-hour care would have cost a fortune. So why not just give your mum at that time a better amount of money so she wouldn't have had to do that? It's this whole, it just defeats the object. I just get so confused at the time. I read a lot of politics, study a lot of politics, and we both talk to a lot of politicians, me and you, I know that. And you just come away thinking they really are living in a different planet. They really are living in a different cocoon of the world where they've got these archaic traditions that should have been dumped years ago, and they just haven't got a clue. Like when I went to that Brexit thing for disabled people, and that MP turned around and said, "It's so lovely to see so many handicapped people here today."
Oh.
Yeah, I know.
Oh.
Exactly. And what Dan's doing now is what everyone in the room did.
Did anyone challenge him? Did anyone say anything to him?
No, because we were so underprepared for it. And then he said, "Well, I've got to go now. I've got an important meeting to talk about nuisance phone calls." And he left, and we're all like Zoom had frozen. Like,
oh my God.
But that's where the disabled community is. That's where the care community is in the eyes of the system.
Yeah.
And we have a care minister and a disability minister who just toe the government line. We need people in power with experience. We need a care minister who's been a carer. We need a minister for disabled people who's got a disability, be it visible or hidden, because otherwise you're just not going to be able to interact or support that community. And we need people within the government who are going to ask questions, not keep toeing the line, not keep fawning, because otherwise you might as well have a small pool of brown liquid as a minister for trade, because it's just people are just in jobs where they don't have any experience, and the trickle down effect to communities like carers, like the disabled communities felt. It's just this complete lack of empathy, complete lack of sympathy, complete lack of support. So I could go on. I'm just like, it just,
but that's what it's like for all of us. And I mean, the joys of Life Downloaded Live, as well as it being on our podcast, is right now we have lovely people watching and joining in the conversation.
Hello, people.
Hello, people.
So, at the lovely Adam Pearson, Celebrity Mastermind Champion, Adam Pearson.
Who? Never heard of him.
Never heard of him.
Who's Alan Pearson?
Don't know him.
But Adam says we're not handicapped, we don't play golf.
How do you know?
Well, you might play golf, it's true.
I'm good at miniature golf.
Miniature golf. Do you know, I learned that miniature golf was invented because they didn't think ladies could play full-size golf.
Oh, wow.
That was originally the reason mini golf was invented, so ladies could play a ladies' version.
Ladies.
Yeah, was it invented by a lady called Mini Golf?
I don't know. Don't think so.
That would be cool, though.
Yeah, it would.
Yeah.
Then Amy, who's one of our regulars, has said masks are mandatory in Scotland where she lives, but people aren't following the rules. They're just saying, oh, they forgot their masks and they're getting away with it.
Yeah.
Wow. That's sad, Amy.
It's the whole country is, I mean, the largest death toll in Europe, without doubt, woefully underprepared. And they're so obsessed with getting this economy up and running because of what Brexit is going to do to the economy.
Exactly.
They're so desperate not to be seen at fault. But the fact that the other day he was ordering people to go back to work, no, in a country that you don't order people, in a communist state, maybe in North Korea,
exactly.
But in this country you can't order people back to work. But they're so obsessed with the economy all the time. If an asteroid was to hit the planet, the first thing they would think of was the economy. And fair enough to think of that, but there's a fine line, and it's really exposed, in my opinion, how brittle capitalism is. And it takes us something like this, and it will crack it completely. And it's exposed, like I said, the open wound of the social care system. It's exposed all the years of austerity. It's exposed all the cuts to the NHS, which have meant so many care workers in the NHS have died just saving patients, and that can't happen. And now they're having to pay for their car parking again. Do you know what I mean? Where are we at in a moral sense in the UK? Where are we at?
We're not. We're greedy. And I think, there has been a few conversations I've had, mostly on Twitter, because, everyone comes out on Twitter. This whole economy versus people's lives. And I found it really difficult when people blatantly said, well, if you're just collateral damage, then who gives a flying rat's arse? And I don't actually know how to approach people when they say that. Like, I kind of want to get a sledgehammer and, do their knees in. Like, I really do. Like, have you ever seen the film Misery? That springs to mind. Do you know what I mean?
See, the thing is...
just because I'm like, you've just got absolute zero sympathy, you money-grabbing gits.
Yeah.
But it's difficult to... I've even got relatives that feel that way, which has been quite challenging in many respects. But I think that at the moment, I feel like I can't even justify my life, because there's going to be people that will just say that I'm not worth living, or your daughter's not worth living.
No, but this brings us back to the archetypal stereotype of disabled people, which is still perpetuated by the media and by the papers and by the system. I mean, if we had total full inclusion on every level, if disabled people were everywhere, just to be able to explain their lives to everyone, you'd find this wouldn't happen. But because we're still fighting for this, what years and years and years later, that's why stereotypes that still happen. Or we don't see no worth in you. Yeah, that's the point. You don't see because no one's showing you. If you were to spend a day with us, if they were to watch Sam and your brilliant career, they just change. Oh gosh, she's amazing, isn't she? Yeah, but they don't see it. We still don't have media inclusion. We still don't have press inclusion. It's all our inspirational children. It's all
I'm glad you have the same reaction to that as me, Dan. I really do. But this is the thing. Like, we're talking about, if you're working, you're not earning money. This is what I always struggle with when it comes to economics and of a certain brand. And people can have their debate on what works and what doesn't. That's fine. But for me, if you invest in people, people will make money.
Yes.
If you invest in things generate money.
Yes.
So this is why I really struggle with governments and political establishments that go, we need to take funding out. Well, no, because if you put funding in, yes, in the long run, in the short term, it costs money. In the long term, you will reap the benefits.
No, you're right. But unfortunately, we don't live in a government that does that magical thing, which is speculate to accumulate. And you're absolutely right, Dan. You're spot on with what you said. That's it. Put the money in because you'll reap the benefits. But because they're only planning 5 years ahead for however long they think their term is, they think, we'll do this now. Or it hasn't worked. Okay. Or we'll give another 30 million to a ferry company. It doesn't exist. Or we'll do all this nonsense. But yeah, you're absolutely right. Speculate to accumulate. But because they're seeing work as a productive thing, it brings you back again what I was talking to Amy yesterday about the arts. I mean, you think how much money the arts put into this country, but because it's not seen as a physical thing that the government want to make, like if people should be in factories
not
and
tangible.
Stuff, they're not a tangible thing. That they just brush it off and they cut art and drama from schools and stuff like that. But you think what the arts bring in, the creativity does for this country, that it sells and it works and it makes money, but they can't see it because they're there static, grey, dusty-holed Etonians in their suits. You think that everyone should be behind a desk because I think that's what they're training our children to do: sit behind a desk or work in a factory, so no one can reach their full potential. Everyone has to just do this.
The
economy.
The
And
other
that's
thing.
what frustrates me.
The other thing is, Dan, if I'm being controversial here,
Ooh.
this comes with a caveat.
You are with your headband.
I know, right? Channeling my
just
international South
record.
American footballer. If I was being controversial, I would argue that at a time where a country may be struggling for bad political decisions, and this is my own personal opinion, and it is slightly conspiratorial, I acknowledge, but if you shut down the arts, then nobody complains. Because the arts is a way of reaching people that doesn't reach people in any other way. You watch comedy, you watch drama, and comedy and drama will always question the political establishment as to whether it's right or wrong.
No, exactly. Exactly.
So
that's the thing with drama, isn't it? Drama is the best expressive relief for children with their mental health. If they can do drama, expressing themselves, and it through art, through drama, through music, through poetry, through acting, through comedy, it's expressive. It helps. It's not just an economic thing. It's a mental health thing, the physical thing. But they just don't see it, and that's why we need a total overhaul of our governmental system. The whole thing needs just wiping away and starting again.
Do you know what they haven't thought about as well? They've disregarded once again the power of the purple pound.
indeed.
Yep.
You know? So
How much, Sam?
the power of the purple pound, so that's the combined spending power of the disability community, which is about £249 billion. And, you know I keep harping on about the masks, and that is because I'm potentially doing a morning TV show talking about masks. But, if I want to go out to a shop, I'm not going to be going out if people aren't wearing the mask. And then I'm not going to be spending my money. And I've got money to spend, as do many disabled people, So it's about, if you're going to open the economy, maybe think about those who could bring in more revenue.
Yes, exactly, mate. Why don't you just that was the opportunity they had when they shut everything, when they shut the shops and stuff, and they gradually start to reopen restaurants and cafes and stuff. That was a golden opportunity they had to suddenly think, okay, we need to make it more accessible. We need to put ramps in. We need to widen walkways and stuff like that. We need to get this purple pound in, because no one talks about it. Because it's only you who talks about it constantly, and you're absolutely correct to talk about it. It just doesn't happen. So of course that money that could be fed back in, well, that lovely dough, if you're listening, Boris. Yeah, that could happen. But going off on a tangent, because I'm such a sci-fi geek and nerd, I was reading a book yesterday about a supposed trip to an alien planet that all these astronauts went on years ago. And I went to this planet called Serpo, and in this diary, the chap put, there are no ladders or steps on this planet. They put ramps everywhere. And I tweeted, that's what you call progression. Let's all just go to Serpo. Let's all go to another planet where they get it like that.
It's a shithole anyway. Let's go.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, at Serpo, they've obviously listened to what the social model is. Adam's asking whether Farage's garage will be accessible. We'll find out, I'm sure.
The Farage.
Oh, yeah. Let's not send 350 million to the EU. Let's spend it on a car park in Ashford instead. But it'll be a well-beaten car park.
It will.
Yeah.
I feel we're getting slightly cynical and sarcastic this last downloaded, and I am quite enjoying it.
This is definitely when I go into my drawer, dig out my German passport, and go a little bit. I'm sure people will then go piss off back to Germany, but I've got dual nationality, and I like to, favour the passport that has been more humane and respected its inhabitants much more in the past few months than we have over here. Do you know what? I might just go back to Germany because, I'm really not happy with what's going on. Apart from you lovely people and
it's
everyone.
all right. We can do Life Downloaded remotely. We've done it for the last 3 months.
Yeah, we have, and I quite liked it. Although I am missing feeding you, Dan.
I know. I miss being fed by you, and that was something I didn't think I'd say this morning.
Oh yeah, no, that's true. So
I just run my fingers through Dan's hair. I want to sit behind him and get a head massage like that. I don't know why.
I think you'll have to fight my girlfriend for that one, Dan. But
we can part it in the middle and do one side each.
One side each.
Yeah.
It just got creepy.
Yeah. Are you not going to feed? Are you not going to feed me grapes at the same time, Sam?
Oh, me or Dan?
Well, either or.
We're children. We can't afford grapes.
This is true. This is true. I apologise.
Raisins. You know, the little mini packs of raisins.
Yeah.
Let's
say something positive, because I do feel like it was a very well-deserved, needed rant.
Indeed.
Venting, and I think we all need it. I think, do you know what? I've noticed during lockdown that I normally kind of tiptoe around subjects just so I don't upset people. I never necessarily 100% say what's on my mind, and it's been quite refreshing, particularly doing Life Downloaded and just kind of all the other different interviews I've been doing, only with people from the disability community, to be fair, no one else. But it's been nice just to be very, very honest and open and being like, do you know what? I'm pissed off. I'm angry. I really don't like people. I just want a lot of cats and animals right now. That's where I want to be. And I think it's been nice that we all feel safe enough to kind of be honest about it, because it is difficult, and talking about the social model, it's difficult not because of our impairments, it's difficult because, once again, negative attitudes, our government has made us, feel like insignificant little little ants, although ants are quite cool. So
yeah.
Ants are industrious and can lift 10 times their own body weight. There you go, there's a fact.
Let's do like a positive thing. Look, my positive thing is it's Disability Pride Month.
It is.
I've never felt prouder of my identity. I've really, really connected with a lot of people from the community over the past, since shielding, which has been like really lovely, I think sometimes when you're living your life, you kind of just get swept away with just living your life, and even though I'd say that I am a campaigner, sometimes I'll go days or weeks without checking in on the people that I'm supposed to be campaigning for. So it's really been a nice grounding experience for me, and touching base and learning a heck of a lot. I feel like I'm doing like a disability studies degree, just because it's been so enlightening. So that's been the positive, and I really, couldn't have gone through lockdown without the support of everyone. So what about you, my pod husband? Give us a positive.
Well, positive, I can give you a few things. I promised Adam Pearson, who is still here,
God,
that I'd give him a bear fact, and apparently one of the smallest bears in the world is known as the sun bear, which I think is a great name. The sun bear.
Don't forget, Adam, bears can't look up, Adam.
Apparently bears can't look up, so there you go, there's bear facts. Kay says this podcast got interesting. Kay, if you listen regularly, they often get interesting.
Got interesting? What do you mean got interesting?
Well, when everybody started talking about stroking my hair, I think
okay, I get it now. Okay,
she wasn't expecting our podcast to go down this route.
Oh, I thought she was saying that it was like rubbish beforehand and then it got interesting.
Oh, no.
She meant interesting, quirky. That's what she meant. All right, Kay, I'll let that one go.
Adam says he's got a feel-good story. This is an 18+ one, but in very BBC language. He said he got laid yesterday for free. So that's always good. Well done, Adam. I hope you enjoyed yourself.
He promised he wouldn't say anything.
Well, I thought you were shielded, Dad. This is all getting very complex.
No, shielding means protection.
Ah.
Stop it.
It's all getting.
Sorry.
I say stop it, and then I grab my boobs. Stop it.
But yeah, no. I think it's in positivity for lockdown for me. It's enabled me to. I'm a bit of a gamer. On a really shallow note, it's enabled me to play games that I need to catch up on.
Living the dream.
I know, right? But at the same time, it's also enabled me to focus and hopefully look at where I'm going to go and work on other projects that I haven't had the time to do. So I'm working on writing projects with a friend of mine and stuff like that. So hopefully, fingers crossed, they'll get made. We're just waiting to hear from the powers that be. So, hopefully, I can't say much more than that.
Well, keep fingers crossed, Dan.
Indeed.
That's great.
Indeed.
That's great. Well done.
I still need to read. Let's talk about positivity. I still need to read Department of Ability, Dan. I haven't managed to get hold of a copy yet. We need to sort that. Dan,
I'll send you one. Don't worry.
Oh, thank you. Dan, for those of you that don't know, I mentioned it earlier in the podcast, wrote his own comic book called Department of Ability, and I am a massive comic book fan. Hence why you've got various superhero-based Lego on the shelf behind me. And, of course, superhero-based artwork behind my head. And it's all disabled characters, and it's amazing. You should check it out. I will give it a shameless plug. I just need to read it, because I've seen all the artwork, and it looks awesome. And I'm sure the story is just as amazing. What games have I been playing, Frankie? Civilization... so many. Batman Arkham games. Yeah, so many. It's not about me talking about games this podcast, but yes, so many.
Emily's played nothing but Fortnite. And that's been a saving grace for her mental health, is that she's been able to play online with her friends. And that's kept to go. And so people who say, video games and stuff like that, that's a load of nonsense. No, I can actually categorically say, Dan, you're absolutely right, because it has been a saving grace for Emily and her mental health over this lockdown. It's just been keeping her sane. And if that means no schoolwork and no stress and gaming, then I'm quite happy for that, as long as she's mentally okay. So no, gaming, Dan, you're absolutely spot on. On with that.
I think, if anything, gamers were probably more prepared for lockdown than a lot of people realise.
Yeah.
Simply because we're used to being in a room on our own and talking to our mates at distance.
Yeah.
So I think gamers were quietly prepared.
Sorry, I've got breaking news from the BBC.
Oh, see, this tells you we're live.
Yeah, UK's mobile providers must remove 5G kits by Chinese firm Huawei from network by 2027.
Yeah, that's because Donald Trump told us to do it. That's because we need our trade deal. We need that bleached chicken on the shelves. That's what it is. We can't.
This is to go veggie.
I can't wait for that. Can you? All that lovely treated food and those low food standards. Can't wait.
The lovely Aaron has a question for you. He says, "Do you worry about going out in case you bring COVID home? Because he's a carer as well, and that's one of the things he's worried about."
Absolutely, I do. Every time I go out. Because, like I said, a good portion of people, unfortunately, are just very, very silly. So what I literally have to do when I do go out, as I come home, I run to the shower, have a shower, put the clothes straight in the wash, and just change completely like that. It sounds ridiculous, but because we get medication delivery, that's literally what I have to do. We're fortunate as they're still delivering to us, but then they're stopping all the deliveries. I mean, this whole thing. Again, if everyone thinks it's over for people like us, well, Emily's not going to suddenly be immune to COVID. I mean, you're not suddenly going to be immune to COVID. Loads of beautiful children across the country, not suddenly, and adults are not going to be immune to COVID, but the government seem to think it is, because the tabloids are giving out such mixed messaging. And I have a real problem with tabloid papers, as you know that, because they're just comment pieces for the government and they're not impartial. So, yeah, that's what I have to do, is literally just come in, strip off. Oi, Sam, calm down.
Hey.
All right. Get in the shower and then wash machine, and then and that's it. And that's it. It's like I need one of those all-in-one suits with a mask on. That's what I need.
The hazmat suits.
Thank you.
We can make that happen. We can sort one. What do you reckon? We'll do a shout out.
Yeah, we'll try and source down a hazmat suit, and
I need a hazmat. And because, unfortunately, my part-time job at the charity, I've been made redundant due to COVID. I need to get back to work in a charity sector somewhere as a writer or a broadcaster. So otherwise, I'm just doing my campaign work, unfortunately, which, as you know, doesn't bring you very many pennies.
No,
so
not.
No, but on positives on lockdown, I would say community spirit between the disabled community and the care community has just bloomed, absolutely bloomed. I mean, the dialogue and the conversations and relationships that have sprung up for people in similar circumstances is just incredible. And you see such beautiful souls out there just doing such beautiful things. So there are a lot of us out there doing the right stuff. Unfortunately, that message hasn't got around to the rest of them who just want to go down the pub and have some beersies and go down to the beach and stuff like that.
Lord.
But, yeah, bless them. So there are positives, yes.
Very much so.
Yes. Oh, have we got any questions?
I'm just having a look, scroll through.
That's not a pretty face.
Not anything that I think we missed. But yeah, I think. Oh, people are saying they do wish there was somebody called Mini Golf. That's.
If I have a child,
Okay.
I promise I'll call them Mini Golf.
Okay.
How
Well,
about that? You heard it here first.
yeah.
Yeah, but what if you get married to someone called Cooper?
Oh, that's upsetting.
Mini Cooper.
Mini Cooper.
Yeah. See.
I quite like it. No? Am I weird?
It does sound strangely like it would be a celebrity child's name, doesn't it? Mini Cooper. Yeah. It
Hello?
sounds like something the Kardashians would do.
Yeah, I know.
I am a miniature Kardashian.
Well, this is true. you are an avid watcher of Keeping Up With, I'm sure.
Hey, you can't see it because I'm sat in a wheelchair, but I've definitely got a Kardashian derriere. I tell you that. With all that brioche I've been eating, I love it. And my bum shuffling. I've started doing a lot more bum shuffling now.
Every
Have
day
you?
I'm shuffling.
I used to do bum shuffling. When I was like a even tinier than I am now, I used to bum shuffle. That was my main way of getting around from A to B.
That's what Emily did, yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't in my wheelchair at home. I was on the floor. And then obviously high school happened and it was like, oh, I can't do that anymore. I need to be in the chair all the time. But yeah, I've started to do a bit more bummer shuffling.
There we go.
Just to get my body moving a little bit more and burn that brioche.
Burn the brioche.
Burn that brioche.
That's a good 3-word catchphrase, isn't it? That's our new 3-word catchphrase for Life
Burn the
Downloaded.
brioche. Come on,
Burn
people.
the brioche.
We could all be doing it now. We could all be clenching our buttocks as we do the podcast. Burn
No,
the brioche.
I never clench my buttocks when someone from the government appears on television.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I think
Yeah.
That
we're all
explains
there.
your buns of steel, I'm sure, Dan. But on that note, everybody, we've been chatting for probably a good 45 minutes.
What the devil? Really?
I know.
Thank you, Dan. And in true podcast form, I'm bursting for a wee. So that's normally the indicator for us to go, ta-ra,
Yeah.
bye-bye.
Generally,
Thank
this
you so much.
podcast / live stream is ruled by Sam's bladder.
Bladder.
You get as
That's-
much content as Sam's bladder could master.
Much content as the content of a bladder. I
Indeed.
like that. Yeah, I like that. I've got to go and pick up some pallets because I am making an accessible garden bench for Emily.
Nice.
That's what I'm doing later. Yeah.
See, DIY show on the BBC should be all yours, Dan.
And they promised to leave them outside. They've cleansed them so I can just go and pick them up without seeing anyone and put them in the boot of the car. So,
So good.
yeah, that's what you call. But yeah, what I think we need to pick out of all this is the fact the care community and disabled community need to have total full inclusion and total and full support. No arguments.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Yeah.
We will always champion that here at Life Downloaded. Dan,
Thanks for having us on. Appreciate it.
no worries.
Thank you.
No worries. I'm sure, no doubt, we will have you on again at some point.
Yeah, different shirt next time.
Why
Oh,
not?
I hope so.
Change it up.
Yeah.
I can see the steam rising from it. It's not good. Not good.
No, that.
Oh, and on that note, ta-ra, everyone. Love you all.
Yeah.
Take safe.
Take
Wait
care.
up.
Keep safe. Keep an eye on all our social media accounts. Follow Dan on social media. It's at DanWhite1972 on Twitter. We will see you all again soon. Stay safe. Stay healthy. See you all later.
Bye.